In the testing, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yep. We should
Check,
be going.
check.
So
1, 2.
Tester,
And we're
tester.
live.
somebody
Check.
wants to bring
Testing.
it up.
1, 2, 3.
I'm on the couch.
I got it here. Well, that's cool.
Cool.
Let's just get all the audio devices going.
Infinite recursion.
Nice.
Sweet.
Let's just get all the.
Okay.
Let's just get all the.
Dave, is yours working?
Do you read me? Over.
Let's just get all the.
Dave, is yours working? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're live. This is Project Ion Podcast on January 12th, 2019. This isn't the first cast of the new year, is it? Or is it?
No, this is a second one.
Second cast of the new year. So my
Yep.
name's Kevin. We've got almost a full house today. A new member has joined me to my left. Dave Morin?
Correct. Yes.
Cool. So why don't we just say, hey, my name is... Everybody?
Oh. Hi, my name's Kyle.
Hi, Kyle. My name's Andy.
Yeah.
I'm Jim.
So Dave was on last week, I believe. So I think all of us are seasoned vets now.
Yeah, it was Forsyth on with
Adam was with us last week.
the
Yeah.
old neighbor cast.
Yeah, the neighbor
The
cast. Every neighbor I've ever had.
We had a
Dave is
pretty
all
good-
of our neighbors.
We had a pretty good chat about GMOs and the like. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it yet.
We were
It's
wishing
been
you were
long.
on that one too, Spurge.
Wait, I think I might have listened to some of it.
Because we were getting into some sciencey stuff and we needed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
your
right. You
input,
guys
yeah.
were talking about whether GMOs were like as harmful and devil as they've been purported to be, which
Right.
is utter nonsense. We could have a phone a friend and call Colby in sometime.
Yeah.
That'd be super interesting.
Yep.
PhD
friend.
soil guy.
Yeah. He's a smart dude.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yeah. Anything agronomy or
Right.
remotely related. Colby's kind of my go-to.
Yeah. If he's ever home, we should try to get him on.
Who's this?
Colby Morberg?
Oh, Colby. Yeah.
Yeah. He teaches at Kansas State now.
Oh, wow.
Dr.
And,
Morberg.
Dr.
Yeah.
Morberg, the
Jeepers.
soil scientist,
Wow.
does his research on he digs out these big columns out of the permafrost.
Yep.
And,
Measures the oxygen levels
yeah,
and
and
stuff.
all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Cool.
It's wild.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, what
Right
else?
on. What's on the table for today? Anything?
Oops, sorry.
No, I mean, I didn't really come prepared, so.
Well, I came with a story that I found, I don't know. I think it's a few weeks old, maybe a couple months old, but worth seeing what you all think about it. There are these, two of the three academics. They were on the Joe Rogan show. I mean, it's an older episode, but I only saw it recently. Three of these academics, they've basically been, they published a series of hoax or faked research papers. I think two of them actually teach. One of them is a lecturer or something like that. And basically they set out to kind of expose, not necessarily prove, but even just expose the nature of liberal bias in academia. And so they published these papers. Some of the research was real, some of it was fake, and under the most outrageous names, the most outrageous titles. I have a few of them here for you. One of their studies was dog parks are petri dishes for canine rape culture. And the 30
Catchy.
30 papers were actually were presented, and seven of them were actually published. Another one was human reactions to rape culture and queer performativity at urban dog parks in Portland, Oregon. Another one was going in through the back door, challenging straight male homohysteria, transhysteria, and transphobia through reactive. I'm not going to say the rest. And then there was one where they were trying to promote feminism by copying and pasting a section of Mein Kampf and replacing the word Jew with man. And that actually did get published and received awards and accolades from top academics in the field of gender studies, whatever that means. And it's kind of up in the air what's going to happen to these guys. They've recently just sort of come out and are open about who they are and what they did. what's going to happen to them, they don't really know. Some of them think they won't ever be able to pursue their PhD degrees. Some of them think that they'll be kind of defrocked and thrown out of their respective universities. We don't really know at this point. So I guess my opening question would be, do you guys feel that there's a left-leaning bias in academia in public schools today? Have you seen it personally?
Get
Get it, Kyle.
I don't know, because I think anyone who teaches in here or who has taught is all taught in the hard sciences. Well, you've taught, and you're in academia too. We're all in science, so I mean, there's not a whole lot of subjectivity you can introduce.
Yeah, I mean, but there is subjectivity that's introduced into science.
Well, but that's the question. That's my first question. These are probably not science-driven journals. They're probably women's studies journals,
sociology,
whatever that.
The humanities.
Sure, women's studies or like, I don't know. Yeah, probably women's studies or like gender studies or some sort of liberal arts.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, Kyle, it came with some stats here. There was a study done from Mitchell Langbert, associate professor of business at Brooklyn College, published a study of political affiliations of faculty members at 51 of 66 liberal arts colleges, ranked highest by U.S. News, blah, blah, blah. They said in the humanities such as religion, philosophy, history, psychology, the ratio was like 70-1 Democrat to Republican, 17-1. In political science, it was 8-1. Then when you get into the sciences, the engineerings, those kinds of things, it was a little bit more even, but still off. 6-1, 5-1. In engineering, it was 1.6-1. There was no field in which Republicans are more numerous than Democrats. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, part of me is, you can maybe ask the question, is the supermarket bias because there's more Republicans that check you out when you go to pay for your food, and then do you guys know what I'm trying to say here?
No.
Nope.
I just need that.
Let me start over. All right.
I like food.
Okay, so
Food's good.
I think what the argument you're trying to make is that just because there's more Democrats working in a place or at a place, then
At a liberal arts college too.
sure, that there's automatically going to be more of a bias in that place. I don't know if that's necessarily true.
To me, that study's also flawed in that it's a sampling bias, right? You know, you're not getting public schools, you're not getting the private for-profit schools.
But these are supposed to be the top of the line, cream of the crop
Liberal
schools.
arts schools.
Yeah.
Wide-ranging studies.
I can say from like a public school perspective, especially like in your lower middle school and elementary, there's maybe one or two, maybe three teachers per building that actually give a rip about politics, and the rest just don't care.
That's kind of been my experience too, in public school growing up and in university. I had one instance in my entire educational career that I can remember where one of my professors said something negative about George Bush. And it was just in passing before class started. I have not experienced this kind of bias in the computer sciences anyway. Growing up, it seems to be on the left and right coasts where this stuff is happening more.
I mean, I went to a small private liberal arts school, and it was, you know, in terms of students, probably 50-1, 60-1 Democrat. Huge differences. Faculty was probably more even split, but definitely led Democrat. However, I didn't see a lot of, you know, political interjections into the classroom, I felt, anyway. From either of my professors, because at the liberal arts school, you know, you have to take humanities classes. I took a music class, and like one called Norwegian Fairy Tales, and, and then all my science courses and stuff. In terms of, you know, I can see I guess I could see why there would be more, because I feel like the Democrats do tend to want to spend more money on education, on public education.
Yeah,
and so in a
And
way,
there's not like a subset that is openly anti-education.
correct. And on the right, there is a subset that's anti-science,
Right.
and there's ones that want to make laws that you have to teach creationism, and that you have to, what are some of the abstinence-only sex education, and things of that nature, which I think would probably drive educators away from that party.
Yeah, I mean,
Draw some too, I'm sure, but
yeah, and people typically, I would assume, vote on two principles: their job and then what their own personal beliefs are. And if you're a left-leaning teacher, you're voting for your job, which is education, for the most part.
But it was shocking to me that, like, the more outrageous the papers seemed to be, the more willing they were able to be accepted. As an example, one of the papers, people probably don't know much about how papers get published and stuff in academia, but they come back, they're submitted, and then they come back with suggestions and comments on how to supposedly improve them. And these papers came back from the submitters, from these academics, and the comments and suggestions that were made only made the papers more outrageous. Like, they tried to make them even crazier than they originally sounded. And, like,
I'd be interested in knowing what the journals were.
Yeah, I could find them here.
Because we've written for some journals that were like, psychotherapy and the Journal of the American Pharmacy Association and things of that nature.
Gender, Place, and Culture, one of the 12 leading pieces in feminist geography, part of the journal's 25th anniversary celebration.
I wonder how many.
So it's like a women's studies journal.
I was going to say, I wonder what the power
Yeah.
rating on the journal is.
Well, that's one thing I think is an important point, is if we're talking about academia, just broadly speaking, it's highly depends on the department. I would think that maybe religious studies and business would skew more Republican, broadly speaking, versus women's studies, which is going to skew Democrat.
Very
extremely right. And it is a humanities situation. I don't know.
Should it, though?
I
mean, it probably shouldn't, though, should it? Ideally, it should be. I mean, this stuff, I'm not sure how I'm trying to say this, but, like, a fact is a fact, or a theory is a theory, and it shouldn't matter what the political leaning of the person presenting it is.
Well, and then isn't the issue here with these that what's getting exposed here is bad scholarship?
Bad scholarship in the favor of one political party over another.
But it's sort of like a parody of itself, right? What was submitted. So, I mean, I guess the point of peer review, isn't it, in my understanding, is to try to settle the right answer. So when there's issues that you maybe don't see yourself because you're married to your idea or something, somebody else can come along and say, oh, well, you screwed up here. What about this and that and the other thing? And, I mean, I guess these really probably demonstrably silly articles expose obviously a bad work of scholarship, but then a bad journal for accepting it in the first place.
I mean,
so
it's
which does happen. I mean, let's not forget the Lancet, which has a power rating of like 45, which is unheard of. New England Journal of Medicine's the only thing close, and accepted a paper claiming to support that vaccines cause autism. That's how the whole thing got started, and the Lancet published it. And the dude lost his medical license, was shown to be a fraud, was using terrible data. And so that happens. That does happen. The journals are obviously not foolproof. I think they were trying to get out ahead of their skis and being like, we're the only one who's going to be publishing this. We're going to get there first. And then, boom, backfired on them.
But I read on Facebook that my flu shot gave me the flu.
Yeah.
Let's get them stirred up here.
Had one of those this week.
Yeah.
Didn't keep my cool. So, well, it didn't, and it won't. But I was throwing up. Yeah, that's not the flu.
Really? They thought like gastroenteritis or whatever was.
Yeah, dude, people are dumb. Straight up.
Well, I remember learning the distinction a long time ago between, you know,
But you're not a dumb person.
yeah.
It's hard to see it from their points of view.
In one of the papers, it was argued that if society trained men like dogs, that rape culture would be reduced. Putting men on leashes, for example, could help them become more tame and calm their aggressions towards women.
Could also
Taken
discover a
seriously.
kink.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think we also have to, like, air quotes, taken seriously. Like, taken seriously for that journal, but how much of an effect did it have on culture? You know, did you see these, like, changing the way people practice psychology? Or did you see it changing the way that people were doing thinking? And I don't know. I feel pretty plugged into that kind of side of things, and I never heard about them.
Well, okay. In this instance, where does the fallout land, and upon whom? I guess should it be the people that what did you say in your spiel there about it, Kevy? That the people that submitted it were possibly getting in trouble. Then, I mean, to me, it ought to be the crappy journals that took them in the first place.
Oh yeah.
Right. To me, this is like exposing an issue with the system, a problem with the system that should be. It's sort of like security experts in IT. These hackers that are paid and like employed to try to break systems. They're not punished for breaking the system. That's what they tried to do, and it was helpful for the company. In this case, these academics were showing how the system is broken in some sense. And I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't be praised for it, but they expose something that needs changing.
It's one thing about writing a stupid story like that. Another thing, it's embarrassing that it's accepted, peer-reviewed. Accepted. That's wild.
I'd be curious as to the quality of these journals.
Yes.
Because there is the situation, too, where people publish more and more just in online journals, which
Which
some of them are high quality and some are less high quality.
Right. Which goes,
So-
back to the making sure your sources are of integrity.
Well, and that's a shitty deal for people because you read an article or something and be such and such a study published in such and such a journal, and to the layperson they think, well,
Right.
I mean that sounds
gotta
fairly
be right.
convincing,
Sounds smart.
So, I mean,
Right.
but that's bad. I mean,
Right. Because there's hundreds of thousands of journals now, especially with online only study or publishing.
And it's not to say that they're all,
They're not all crap.
they're
No.
not all crap. A lot of them are quite, fine.
Absolutely.
Everything's going digital, right? It's
Yeah.
just like with everything else in media, quality has become less easily discerned, perhaps.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
Anyway, I thought it was funny.
that is
Okay.
yeah. Thanks
It
for
is.
Yeah.
bringing
Very
that
funny.
up. I'd heard about that, or maybe it wasn't the exact same ones, but it was the same in the same vein here recently on like YouTube or something like that. People were ha-haing about it. And, I don't know. I think it's a good thing because as a person who doesn't have time to sit and vet every single thing that I read, I would prefer to actually be able to trust some stuff and just like believe that it's true from time to time.
Yeah.
Nothing on CNN, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really pay much attention to TV news,
Yeah.
to be honest. What?
I heard they're fake.
Oh, CNN? Could be.
Don't be rude.
That's what the word is.
You fake news.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to know on that subject how many people like under 40 watch TV news,
I do at lunch.
Yeah.
For the
What is that,
for the
local or?
No, I watch the major networks. I flip between the three, just for the lulls, though.
Mhm.
I mean, it's completely for entertainment value. I don't get my news off of them, but I enjoy watching them all three say the same story, but completely differently.
Mm-hmm.
And when was the switch? Because I remember as a kid being like turning on ABC or CBS or something like that, and
It was when Fox.
feeling
It was when Fox went 24 hours a day, and CNN followed shortly after, I think, and then MSNBC came up. I think they're the kid on the block, I believe.
I think, with the advent of Twitter, that's kind of where the younger generations are getting their new, quote unquote news, if there is anything newsworthy on Twitter. And then you can, have that whole discussion. Well, is Twitter biased to what's showing up on feeds and stuff? And
it's interesting. I don't mind an angle or a bent from a news organization as long as they're honest about it and upfront with it. I think Fox would acknowledge that they're pretty pro-right, and
they're fair and balanced.
Fair and balanced.
Yeah. But I mean, it's no secret. Like then MSNBC is obviously left, but does CNN claim to be center, or do they acknowledge that they're?
Oh man,
that's a good question.
That's a good question.
I don't know, but I like that point that you're making because how could you have a problem with if somebody says, "Okay, this is opinion journalism," now blah 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 blah.
Exactly.
But what the real issue is when outfits masquerade as objective journalism, and then it's anything but.
I think last time you pulled up that media chart, the media bias
Oh,
chart,
yeah.
and CNN was pretty smack in the middle of that bell curve.
Thanks for reminding me that.
If we were to go by
that's a fun chart.
the bell curve chart.
What's the source?
Yeah,
some journal.
It's the Kyle Grimm's fake news journal.
Yep.
Media watchdog.
Media bias chart. We'll bring it up so the streamers
it's
can
pretty
see
good.
it.
.gov. Oh, cool. Yeah, that is a nice little software you got there, Jim.
Yeah. I dig.
Well, it's spinning right now, but...
Yeah.
Oh, is it spinning?
No, I got it. It's going now.
Okay.
So you can
That's
see
kind of a crappy image.
see the computer screen.
And I mentioned it too because for a long time I was under the impression that CNN was fairly just the facts. This is how things are, and we don't give any opinions. But that's obviously since changed.
On this one, CNN is like right in between leans left and hyper partisan left on this chart.
So slightly left.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
a little more than slightly.
it'd be it's in the same. It's like in there with CBS, ABC, New York Times, Vice.
Mm.
But
So
it's
leans left, maybe?
well, yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah, like what's listed as neutral here is AP. Makes sense, I guess. C-SPAN, that makes
I love C-SPAN, dude.
The camera feed.
The guy that takes the callers. There's some YouTube mashups of him just having the most ridiculous callers.
Yeah.
And his face never breaks. He's just,
Oh, there it is.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Book TV, is that pretty center?
I don't see Book TV on here, but unfortunately the image is kind of small, so I can't.
Routers.
It's pretty close.
Oh, here we go. This is a little better picture.
InfoWars. Oh man.
Where's InfoWars?
Bottom right.
Oh, yeah, it's
By
over.
Breitbart.
It's on the garbage right. Yeah.
They're turning the frogs gay.
He, I think that was just today that he lost, or they finally ruled in favor of the Sandy Hook families against
really?
Alex Jones. Yeah,
Really?
Oh, thank goodness.
That.
Yeah, because what was he saying? It was a
But they were
government
crisis
It was
conspiracy.
a government hoax.
Yeah, crisis actors' children.
To what end, though? That's what I never
Because they're
understood.
going to take her gun.
I guess so, but
yeah. Well, it's
I think people get
Shock
hooked on the
rock.
conspiracy that, like,
Oh, man.
you feel warm and cozy because you're in on the truth, and everyone else, and then whatever he sells
When
water
he
purifiers
and
and
when and that's and
Whatever.
ration kits.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
dehydrated ice cream
Yeah.
or whatever.
yeah.
it's kind of like Alice Cooper, where Alice Cooper's like, this strange person that you're kind of gravitated to, and he makes good freaking music, but You know,
It's a gimmick.
it's yeah.
It's all it is, and that's the thing is Alex Jones's show. Like he was on Joe Rogan. He had a great episode with
Yeah, that was
Joe,
pretty
and
good.
they got like hammered
Yeah.
and
Sweating.
Weed and whiskey.
he's just sweating and going. I'll tell you about those guys.
Transgenerational species.
Interdimensional child molesters. Yeah.
Oh man, he loves the international child molester.
Oh, yeah.
ring.
That's a recurring
Pizzagate.
theme.
Yeah. Well, it's because they're trying to take the innocence of the children from the fifth dimension, and that's going to be the next dimension. Is that we're going to go to?
You never know, I guess.
I mean,
I've watched
maybe?
it for a while now, and I do think he's pretty sincere about what he says and believes.
He actually believes it.
For the most part, I think he
Yeah.
does, yeah.
Does that make him crazy? Is that?
Yes.
Or maybe
yeah,
he
sure.
just makes a lot of money spouting nonsense.
Or-
So he just sort of starts to believe it because it's
That's what I was just gonna
profitable.
say. You know, did he
talk
did he
himself
originally
into it.
make it for entertainment purposes,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you just kind of believe what you're saying? You know?
Yeah. It's kind of. Do you remember when we?
Very sort of televangelist like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In a sense.
that's a
Kinda.
good analogy.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking. Do you remember when we got like into Creed? Like.
Oh,
10 years
yeah.
ago? We were like ha-haing about Creed because they were this hokey, cheesy band, you know, going
Yep.
like that. And we were listening to it and laugh, ha, this is great. Well, then suddenly the line started getting kind of blurry in between,
All right.
you know.
Things are getting
Is this, for
iffy
the,
now.
is this for the lulz still, or
Stockholm syndrome, man.
turned into a Creed fan? And then next thing you know,
Or sitting in
me and
the.
the Grems boys are at a
That's
Creed
right.
show in Sioux City.
Huge
Florida.
dinosaur t-shirts on. Wolf t-shirts.
Man, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So
I wish we took.
Were you like in the front row seat? With
We
Scott
were-
Stapp?
We were close.
Pretty close.
we were,
Yeah.
we were pretty close to the stage. So we're
Yeah.
standing there. I elbow Kyle or Kevin, whoever was standing next to me, because there's this cute girl standing over there. And then like 2 seconds later, this other chick comes up and grabs her by the ponytail and like cocks her head back and just starts waving at her like this. And I'm just, you know, and then people grab them and pull them
Yeah.
apart and that. But
All at a Creed
Creed
show.
gone wild.
it was gnarly.
It was crazy. I wish we would have got a picture of what we wore. I think you had a fanny pack on.
I did, yeah.
Dude, fannies are good for concerts.
It's
true. Period.
Kevin and I both had matching Howling Wolf t-shirts
Yes.
where we cut off the sleeves.
I think I donated that shirt to Goodwill.
Yeah. Oh man, we were just ridiculous. God, thinking about that now, we would never do that now.
Probably not, yeah.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I still might.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
But-
maybe.
I'd be pretty unhappy, I think.
Yeah.
You know, then we didn't get home till like 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So what you're
Ears
saying
ringing.
is you got over your Creed kick.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
What about the Slipknot show? You guys going?
I
Yeah, we still better go
I
to
gotta
that.
go to
I'd really like
Slipknot.
to. Pit passes right now are $650,
Holy cow.
Oh,
and the cheapest of the cheap tickets in the back row. I mean, because it's way sold out on StubHub are 81.
Mm.
I think right now.
tough to- yeah, we should maybe get on that if we want to
Yeah,
go.
because I want to go to that as well.
I'd still like to see an ICP show.
I feel like I need to too,
Yeah,
man.
it's kind of like a
I would wear
message.
face paint.
I
would
went-
do it.
I went from I went through a phase, and I listened to ICP.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've all
The
been
majority
there,
of us
Spurge.
at this table. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never claimed to be a fan, but I'm certainly intriigued.
How about that flow?
I'm ICP curious, you might say.
There's a really good YouTube video or documentary about Gathering.
Oh yeah,
You got
Yeah.
Joe Goes?
Gathering.
Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
It's hilarious.
It's awesome.
the Juggalos, the Juggalettes.
The Let's are all over running wild.
Yeah, God, it looks like fun. I mean,
does.
It does. It's
yeah.
just a big party.
It's big
the
adult
whole
like
time.
Disney World.
Yeah,
Lake
Yep.
hepatitis.
yeah, super gross,
Real
but
gross.
looks fun.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that should be a bucket list item for sure.
Get some Fago.
It's a juggler, it's a
Yeah.
posse thing.
Fag- that's right. They got the Fago.
There you go.
Yeah, do they have anything else that the Fago? Is there any?
Okay, question though.
Oh, I don't know.
Since there are other former fans, did they come out as Christians?
Oh,
Wasn't that
jeez.
the big like end of the Joker's card
No,
series
they
or
just
something?
said the Dark Carnival is God was their whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Which what that means, I don't.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They've got it. They've got some new stuff out. That's crap. But
Haven't heard any of it for a long time.
Right.
Magnets,
Right.
how do those work or something?
yeah, I wanted some nostalgia trips, so I went back and just kind of YouTube some stuff.
Jim, were you like an
Little
is that
Malenko?
did that enter your radar?
I was not a big ICP fan.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. I was not either.
Yeah.
It was just sort of around, and you always just point at the guy with his like underneath
I
the hood of his
remember your
car, and you're just like,
ICP.
oh, he's a
Yeah.
juggalo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hatchet Man.
I saw a guy in Des
yeah.
Moines when I was going to law school. He had a Juggalo T-shirt or a
Yeah.
tattoo or something. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, they
Come
exist,
on,
man.
man.
I saw one in Spencer recently. Like he had a little Hatchet Man medallion on, and
The one guy lost a lot of weight, I noticed.
Really?
Violent J.
Violent J.
Well, he was
Shaky
pretty
T Dope
porky
was
there for
always
a while.
skinny.
Slimmed down, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember him back when they both had their dreadlocks, and then one time at a concert, they got a vision from the Dark Carnival and cut off all their dreadlocks on stage. There's nothing better than
Oh
white
my
man
God.
dreads.
Not sure if that's Shangri-La or if that's just mushroom.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I should. Since we're on the subject of fake news, I should bring up my cousin's website thing. It's called Nowhere News.
Interesting.
KNO. Yeah.
Which cousin? Jamie?
Well, it's like my first cousin once removed, actually.
Yeah.
So it'd be Fritz's daughter Tracy.
Okay.
Her son named Dylan
Okay.
lives in San Fran, and he's got this
Oh boy.
Nowhere. But I think what they're trying to do is pretty legit.
Pretty
Well-
down the line.
They've got some algorithm or something, and if it's a news story, and they, show you all the sources from which they pulled the information,
Mhm.
and then it's like typed up in such a way as to try to remove all the BS
Interesting.
from it. Yeah. Let me see if I can actually find.
Not like the HuffPo articles that are so and so got owned on Twitter. Everyone
Clickbait.
has just these ridiculous.
Own the libs.
Yeah.
Gotta own the libs.
Snowflake tears, brah.
Yeah.
Cringe collections. Feminist Cringe, Volume 1.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
So here's an article about it. Want your news delivered with the icy indifference of a literal robot? You might want to bookmark the newly launched site Nowhere News. It's a startup that combines machine learning technology and human journalists to deliver the facts on popular news stories.
Interesting.
So the site's artificial intelligence chooses a story based on what's popular on the internet right now. Once it picks a topic, it looks at more than 1,000 news sources to gather details. Left-leaning, right-leaning, it looks at all of them. So let me go to the actual site.
Yeah, let's see what's
Find
hot
a story,
news.
because what I liked about it is that I read one time, and then I scrolled down to the bottom of the page, and then it showed all the stuff from where they were
Mhm.
pulling things up from. So, and I don't know. I mean, to me, I think there's a market for that.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, here's one: Florida governor suspends sheriff over mass shooting, and then they've got the article here. Sorry, everybody can't see it, but oh yeah, and they've got a thing here to like, if you think it's shitty in terms of a bias, you can like rate it,
Huh.
flag it,
Crowdsourcing
yeah, flag it, yeah. And then here, yeah, so on this one it lists sources: Reuters, NBC, Metro US, Raw Story, Houston Chronicle, etc., etc. So
Interesting. I like the idea.
I do too.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean,
This is your cousin?
yeah.
Doing this?
Dylan Rhodes is his name. I'm not sure what he does for him exactly, but he's like was in on the ground floor
Nice.
for this. So
It's very needed.
yeah, he's a kind of a computer guy, super
Yeah.
smart dude.
Yeah,
Machine learning.
yeah
Well,
that's fun.
I mean, I think that could be the wave of the future.
Yeah, they're
you
the
know,
least bias.
right.
Well, except that Google.
Well,
Yeah,
That's a good
yeah.
question.
Some truth to
actually.
that,
If it's
too.
like
Well, all right,
just
here we go.
quantity based,
AI.
like you know what I mean.
AI.
Like you could just have instances of a particular article. I don't know.
Well, right, because isn't that how they
It doesn't
got?
mean that bullshit wouldn't slip through.
Isn't
I
that
guess.
isn't that how they got idiot to come up when you, or Trump's picture when you type idiot into Google? Is it essentially someone made
I don't
millions
know
and
how that works.
millions and
exactly.
millions of web pages with his picture on it that referenced idiot or something? And,
Yeah.
because they got Nazi and Steve King, I think too.
He's been in the news.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
you can talk about that
This man
winner.
lost the backing of the GOP.
Really?
Yes.
No, he
Amen.
should be done then
Insane.
next go around.
I saw Shapiro was talking the other day about how he should be. I can't remember the term, legal representation here, for Congress to like unseat a rep.
Recused? No.
I boot him out. Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
somehow boot him
the
out,
idea,
and then he should be primaried. Which two Republicans from Northwest Iowa have already like stepped up and said they're going to primary him. But I mean, it's 2020
Yeah.
until he's up
True.
for re-election. But
It
Yeah.
is sort of interesting that the timing for that is now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, why after the last, 45 years he's been there? I don't know how
Yeah.
long it's been.
oh, dude, yeah, it's
20 years, 18 years he's been the
I-
rep.
probably something like that. I think it was like 8 or 9 terms.
Yeah.
And
And
his
he-
last go was the first time that it was within 3 or 4
Yeah.
points.
It was
This is
like
the
3.
closest.
It was like 3
Before
points,
that, it was just like
20 plus.
gimme.
Yeah, just mine.
Who was it? Who was
JD Schulten.
Schulten,
I
yeah.
was gonna say Salinger.
JD Sound Catcher in the Rye? No, that's not
Yeah.
it. Is it Catcher in the Rye?
Yeah. No, yeah, Schulten, who I heard talking. I thought he had a real good chance.
Yeah.
Northwest Iowa.
Yeah, I saw him a couple times in Esterville.
Farmer. Yeah, he was out at the college a couple times.
He might. Who knows? Maybe he'll run again.
Yeah,
However, assuming
What do
Steve King doesn't get primaried.
he had like an RV that he cruised
Yeah.
around all the states or all the counties and
Yep.
slept in Walmart parking lots and.
so we
Living
think
the
King is a
dream.
white nationalist. Is that what I'm reading here?
I mean, he's
Pretty much said he
said
is.
it. I mean, what? No, not just. And he said, white supremacist, white nationalist, Western civilization. When did these become offensive?
Right.
Yeah.
Including
Well,
white
okay.
supremacists
Supremacist sure is offensive, but Western civilization,
is not.
okay. White nationalist. I
Yeah.
believe those words together contextually in a society like ours, yes, is offensive, but them by themselves aren't, are they? You could be a nationalist and happen to be white, but not be a racist.
To defend white supremacist is kind of
That
a
takes
bridge
it
too
all
far.
out.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That would be the one part of this statement I would
Yeah.
focus in on.
I mean,
not
but the white nationalism
why?
means neo-Nazi essentially in our culture.
In our culture, sure, but taken separately, those words
But
mean
he
benign
lives in our
things.
culture.
Yeah,
And so you abide by the cultural norms that he professes to love.
so
He
if I'm
loves
white
America.
and a nationalist, that makes me a racist?
No, but if you define yourself as a white nationalist, I think it
That's
has
totally
racial
that's
contextual.
insane. So words mean things.
They do.
It's like the difference between she's my girlfriend. She's my girlfriend. What's the difference?
I don't think you can totally you can't just take out the societal context of a word.
Well, then we're redefining things now. And okay,
Well, because words definitions change.
so what should I call myself if I'm a white guy and I'm also I don't know if I am a nationalist or not because that definition has also changed and all of a sudden it is racist and it means you're Hitler if you define yourself as a nationalist. But what should I call myself then? I don't know.
Yeah. So Vin, what you're saying is, if you are a nationalist and also white,
What do you call yourself?
well, yeah,
What do you identify?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you just identify as a nationalist.
because wouldn't there the position would be like there's a way to be a nationalist and not have that be a bad thing,
Right, exactly.
right, and then also be a white person.
Sure.
Then what? You know?
Yeah.
But why not just nationalist then? Why throw in white?
Okay. Black nationalist. Is that also racist?
think that's a bad thing. I think that's what like Black Panthers are, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think they're seeking for like a separate black state, though.
True.
I don't know. I feel like they're more ultra lefty, trying to
Yeah.
get out institutional racism or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be contrarian. I don't necessarily espouse these things.
Yeah. I think what did King vote no? Oh yeah, it was aid to Hurricane Katrina, I think.
Yeah.
The only guy in the entire
Oh, and he also didn't
House
want
of Representatives.
he didn't want a plaque outside the Capitol admitting that slave labor helped build it. He was the only one that voted no against that too. Because fiscal conservative, don't want can't have a plaque.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I don't like about all of the Steve King vitriol is that I feel like a lot of it gets imputed on people who live in his district. I mean, I get like how people outside with the Northwest Iowa, a bunch of guys wearing white hoods and
Overalls.
right. And I mean, it's one of those things where like it's so unfortunate that if you're maybe a 1 or 2 issue voter, regardless of how you might feel about something, when in a two party race, you're
looking
you've
for
got
your
to
letter.
tie your wagon to somebody.
You got to look for your letter.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that's my comment. We need more candidates.
We need more parties.
Yeah, right.
God,
Yeah,
I hate the
more parties.
Democrats.
I blame the Democrats.
The Democrats can't campaign their way out of a wet paper bag.
But you guys understand my point, though, right? Like,
I do, absolutely.
We were talking about this last time, I think, Dave. Like how somebody says one word like environment, and then immediately your mind goes to the left.
Yes.
Or guns.
Or guns to the right. Yeah.
Yes.
And
True. It just seems like a foolish system that's like, why would there only be 2 choices?
Mm-hmm.
Like 2 viable choices.
For something as important as governing.
Yeah.
I mean,
And how bizarre in the age where we've got like the entire wealth of human knowledge at our fingertips at any point in time.
Yeah.
It's an ever increasing or like ever decreasing amount of nuance in the way we live our lives, I guess.
I think you said the word there, nuance. I think people have such a problem with nuance these days. It's either black and white and no gray. You're either this or that, and that's it. That's all there is to it.
Yep.
My views on religion and spirituality are to some extent not accepted by both sides because they're heavily nuanced. My attitudes towards things like evolution and God and stuff are not acceptable to either party because they are so nuanced for either side. But yeah, I think that's the word of the day. Nuance.
And it's all gone anymore.
Yeah.
Bumper sticker.
That's right, baby.
Indeed.
Ugh, drives me
Mega.
crazy.
Hillbot, coexist. Kevin.
So would you describe
I love the one that just
An
says
agnostic.
coexist.
No.
Like
Says
a
it's
nun?
easier with all that.
I just go with the nun.
A nun.
If
Yeah.
I say I'm nun, it means I have no religious
Oh, okay.
persuasion
No, I wouldn't
whatsoever,
claim that
for
title.
example. But I'm also not like an atheist. Like I don't.
Agnostic.
Yeah, he likes the word agnostic.
I like the word agnostic.
Have you guys heard the people that talk about on the subject where if somebody says they're an agnostic, then they're also an atheist because, like, the definition of atheism being like you lack the belief in
Atheism.
Yeah.
See, is it a lack or is it like a defined?
Yeah.
No?
Right. Like if it's an assertive, then
Is no God, there is proof.
yeah,
Then it's
right.
an anti-theist.
Then yeah, I think then you're in the
Anti-theist.
and you get burned to proof.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Christopher Hitchens always called himself an anti-theist and that he
Right.
didn't want it to be true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Gnosticism deals with knowledge. Do you know there's a God, or do you know there's no God? And theism is belief.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe there is? Believe there isn't.
Right.
strong versus weak atheism, all that good stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I listen to stuff about that or whatever, and it's kind of like
It's
differences without
wordplay.
distinction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it
Oh, it
turns into a
is.
semantics
Right.
Yeah.
exercise. Yeah, but
Like those dudes, the atheist experience
Matt
on
Dillahunty.
YouTube. Yeah.
Man, Dillahunty.
raise your hand if you've seen that show.
Come on, Dave.
Yeah.
My favorite's the guy that calls in from the Baptist church.
I'm
Just
going to do my
over
Dillahunty
and over.
impression here. Took off my hat, so I look extra well. Steve, no. Steve, no.
But-
no.
but-
Steve,
Matt,
no.
you're not giving me. Matt, give me a chance.
You're
Matt. Yeah, what was that like? Stone
Baptist Church.
Baptist Church.
The Stone Baptist. My name is Dave. I'm from the Stone Baptist Church.
You're done.
Yes, Dave, you've called in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, he was saying, and some of the kids at the church have been listening to this. Now they don't think that there's a Jesus.
Yeah, I heard that.
And the parents don't want them to believe that. And we're telling them that they can't watch it on YouTube. I'm sorry.
It's funny, we're on this topic. On the way over here, I was listening to a podcast, Dogma Debate. If you guys want a good long form back and forth between believers and an atheist,
I've heard of that.
Dogma
I
Debate.
think.
It's really good.
Not the
Interesting.
lopsided.
I mean,
you know,
the host is an atheist
Yeah,
and he's
okay.
staunch in his position, but it's still a lot more back and forth than like an atheist
Okay.
experience.
Yeah, well,
What
that's
do you
yeah.
use
yeah.
for like podcast listening?
Just Apple
Just app.
podcasts.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you have an? Oh, yeah, you have an iPhone.
Oh.
No.
Do you have an iPhone, Kevy? I thought
I
you
do.
weren't an i-guy.
I'm an eye guy when it comes to mobile devices. For
Okay.
I remember that from our first one.
Yeah.
I can never
The
keep
i-guy.
it straight because I feel like there was a Kevy quote floating around out there. He's like, "You pay more for rounded edges" or something like that.
Absolutely true. Stand by that quote till I'm dead. Yep.
He's not wrong.
Yep.
The only difference is
true.
Google makes rounded edges too now.
Yeah.
Cut on the bandwagon.
You guys want to do controversial questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what you guys are doing with?
Yeah, I just got I side with up here.
Did we land on the moon?
Yes, but we didn't videotape it.
Ooh, interesting. I've never
Potentially.
I've never-
Okay.
Potentially.
Flesh that out for us, Spurge.
So thoughts here.
I'm putting on my
Thoughts.
conspiracy.
And then, dude, we got to dress up. So I was listening
the Unabomber.
again, listening to a Rogan podcast, and they made an interesting point that I'd never even considered. And I'm guessing that it's horse shit, but they were talking about how, yeah, we probably landed on the moon because the technology was there at the time. That would have been possible for us to do so. The videotaping, though, when we had film, you couldn't even take film through like an X-ray machine at the airport without all of it going blank. Like film cameras,
Yeah, a
film
lot
TV.
of radiation up there.
Yeah, tons of radiation out in space. Now, were they lead-cased cameras? Maybe. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. I'm just asking questions.
That's all the conspiracy people say.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all.
I mean, yeah. Possibly, though. The other thing that Rogan brought up in some of the video, it looked like to him that astronauts were not obeying the laws of physics. And it's like, it's 1/6 gravity, but they were like going from a completely horizontal and going straight up without any pushing momentum, anything like that.
I think we've seen the same episode. I remember him saying.
Yeah,
stuff.
I think it was with his little fighter buddy, but he's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
super into conspiracy.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Eddie Bravo.
Eddie Bravo. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Rogan's
guy.
got some good stuff.
Oh yeah.
He's
I've gotten into him a lot lately.
all over the place.
Yeah.
Not a big MMA person, but
No.
I don't. Let's watch any of those episodes. All right, what do we got?
Okay.
Yeah.
Should the government increase environmental regulations to prevent climate change? We can learn more about it here.
from a science teacher, no, it's too late. I think, in my opinion.
Hang on, let's learn more.
No, we should find alternate viable habitats elsewhere.
Like on Mars.
Yeah, or
Mhm.
moon.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can somehow. we good there, Spurge?
Yeah, I'm good.
We
Somehow,
lost one.
and I don't know what the technology would be, but
Aren't we all supposed to be dead by now, according to Al Gore? Whenever that movie came out of his.
well, there's like a 2.7 degrees Celsius increase in global temperatures. I think projected for the next.
I think that they were kind of drawing a line at 4 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
At which point, all of a sudden, things become really shitty.
Really,
Yeah.
really bad. I read a really interesting article that my buddy sent me regarding plants producing less nutrients because of the increased CO2 levels in the atmosphere. So they're having to spend more energy or something to handle that, and so they're not producing as much nutrients, and so supplements are more needed, I guess. It was an interesting article.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there's no denying that the climate is changing for sure.
Well, I mean, you can.
Well, I guess you can't
People
deny
do it daily.
Yeah.
The question is, how much are we causing it to change, us as humans?
Yeah. I always tell my kids, greenhouse emissions are like, and this is, I know, a silly analogy, but it's what they can understand. The greenhouse emissions are like a blanket. What do you feel if you increase the weight of your blanket? Well, we get warmer. Okay, there you go. And I know it's not that simple, but
It's not too far off.
right,
I mean,
right, yeah.
You have greenhouse gases like CO2 and methane that prevent the reflection. Somehow they absorb more heat and less heat
Yeah.
escapes as it bounces off
Yep.
your
It's just,
Earth.
yeah, it's like an oven, pretty much.
Yeah. So you're increasing, essentially the blanket, or the density of the
Mhm.
blanket.
I don't know enough about it to speak intelligently about it, but what annoys me at a higher level is when people try to silence the debate and the discussion, when they just say, the debate is over, we can no longer allow people who oppose climate change on our news network. Like one of the main networks did recently. They will not allow people who deny climate change on their network.
CNN.
Would not surprise me.
Well, certain anchors on CNN.
Yes. True.
Well, when they deny climate change, do they deny the statistics that the global temperature is increasing? Because
Yes.
that's just a factual denial of data.
So to you, that would be like denying 1 + 1 = 2?
Yeah. That'd be looking at a chart with a positive trend and saying that trend's going down.
And I'm sure they would say, well, what's the source of the data on that
Yeah,
chart?
I'm sure they would.
Yep, and
you could say thermometers, but
I guess I'm always in favor of more debate, more discussion, especially on things as controversial as this. And to just say, no, it's science is settled, it's done. We're not going to allow any more discussion.
I think it
Not controversial.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think it's done.
That's exactly the point. Is there are a handful, maybe, of rogue climate scientists who question the
Yeah.
most everyone is on board.
97% of all scientists agree.
So
It's funny where that statistic came from.
then it is sort of misrepresenting, I guess. It does create some bias if you have somebody on who denies it when you consider that it's
well, it's like giving anti-vaxxers a
3%
platform.
versus 97%. Right. Or any bullshit, some like
That's just
Holocaust deniers.
job thinks Arabs are coming back.
It's
I don't know.
It's anti-science.
How is silencing a debate anti-science?
Because it shouldn't be a debate in the first place. It's a waste of time, I think.
Wasted. If it's so settled and it's not a debate, then I'm not saying what are you afraid of, but like why not just squelch the other side immediately
Because
there and have the debate?
the other side won't accept the proof that's being offered. Like outright dismissal. Like the whole temperature thing. I talked to a denier guy. Funny, he's actually an engineer. works for data gathering. Said that because the thermometers they use now are not in the exact same place with the exact same surroundings as they were in the 70s, then we can't accurately measure temperature now compared to how we measured temperature then. Therefore, it's all bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah, I have pretty strong feelings about climate deniers, just like you probably have strong feelings about anti-vaxxers.
Oh, yeah.
I just
Climate deniers, it's kind of my sort of like pet peeve too.
I don't know. Maybe I'm over I don't know, aggressive with this because I can't really see the other side. Coming from kind of a science background, I can't really see what deniers would see. Just like I can't understand what anti-vaxxers are thinking.
To me, it's all about incentive, and that is just like tobacco companies had incentive to muddy the waters,
Mm.
you know, in the 50s and 60s and 70s about cancer and the link between cancer
Right, why
and
don't
smoking.
we let people who say that there is no link behind cancer and smoking have airtime?
And so,
Maybe we should.
Those people have a
If there's-
vested interest in that
Well,
opinion, right? That view. So
And that's
they push it.
but it's dangerous for those people to have a platform.
Dangerous.
That's
a
well,
good word.
well, yeah, sure it is. I mean, if you're gonna have somebody come on air and or Twitter and tweet, smoking doesn't cause cancer, blah blah blah, and then give that person, you know, a platform in front of millions of people.
They already have a platform in front of millions of people. It's called Twitter. So should they
Yeah.
be kicked off Twitter for saying smoking doesn't kill
No,
people?
but they shouldn't be broadcasted on national television.
What is national?
If quality is whatever, quality journalism is what you purport to. Like,
That's also a dangerous qualifier. What is quality?
Yeah.
that's why you have AI.
Yeah. Know your what is it? Know
Nowhere news.
Nowhere
Nowhere
news.
news.
Yeah.
Just have faith in the machine to save us all.
AI. That's another.
I mean,
interesting topic.
I think the debate can definitely be had. What can we do about it? But we can't have the debate. What can we do about it until there is an agreement that it is an issue, and we haven't reached that point yet.
If we still can't come to the conclusion that there is an issue, I think we are. If we're not too far gone now, I mean, if it's not irreversible yet, by the time we get everybody on board, I think it's gonna be a ways.
Every single petro company has come out and said that climate change is real. And
Yeah.
it's linked to human activity.
Yep.
That's what the deniers. That's what gets me. Like they don't understand that part. The oil companies acknowledge,
Yeah.
like, from their own science that they funded.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of, in that sense, to me, it's like,
But we got to
why
bring
would you give that view a platform?
so we can bring back coal.
Clean coal.
Clean her up.
Gotta be clean.
Clean her up.
Clean her up. Yeah. Wash the coal and then burn it because then it'll work.
Well, who is giving these people a platform? We keep saying give them a platform,
Oops.
give them a platform.
Sorry, Dave.
What exactly are we talking about? Is it the deal on like CNN when you have the 6 talking heads and everybody's trying to talk
Yeah.
over
That's
each
the first
other?
thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
The split screening on CNN.
Because that kind of, I mean, that like forum to me is
That's
completely irrelevant.
Yep,
Like I
absolutely.
don't pay any attention to
The
it
problem
whatsoever.
it is for us. It's not for the people who vote.
Well, like
Look at voting demographics
older
split
people,
off.
you mean?
Older
Yeah.
folks. That's all. That's what they
So,
watch.
Do we
Right.
just gonna have to bide our time until
Till they die?
those people die and then
I guess. I mean,
maybe
isn't that what everybody's
Yeah.
done
Our age
so
group.
far?
Our age group is finally the largest voting bloc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether we can take the mantle.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I think back to what you were saying about the smoking thing, comparing it to the climate denial. And I remember what Bill Nye said about this, and he seemed to imply that if you deny that there is man-made climate change, that you basically should go to jail. And that is like
No.
so. I can't believe
Yeah,
that.
I know kind of. You're probably coming more from a like freedom of speech.
Debate, honest, open debate, freedom of speech. Yes.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like
I sympathize with I sympathize with Kevin a little bit as far as it's a little bit of a bridge too far for me to say, oh, well, I mean, if you're a news group and you say, okay, I want to have crazy guy on to have an entertaining debate or discussion, I mean, your bottom line is selling ad space to your advertisers. And if you think you can get every baby boomer sitting on their couch tuning in and getting all stirred up because they've got right, and then you run your ads for your hemorrhoid stuff and your, cholesterol medicine.
Prevagen's good stuff.
Yeah.
It was made from jellyfish.
So
$60 a bottle.
let them do it. I mean, so what? The younger people aren't paying any attention to it, so have at it, man.
Unfortunately, they're still the ones making our
This
policy.
is one that kind of I do find it.
Mitch McConnell's from an old ass section of Kentucky.
Well, yeah,
and he's the most powerful man in our country.
That's
right now.
a different discussion. I mean, we've got way too many super old legislators and a broken legislative body in the first place.
There has to be some sort of freedom.
Yeah.
Doesn't there? But then how do you legislate that? That's the question. We know that there are already limits on freedom of speech, right? You can't yell fire in a theater, for example. You can't run around spouting secrets, government secrets, without going to jail. But then how do you draw the line around freedom of speech? In Europe, it's illegal to say openly racist, pro-Nazi. You can't do that. There's laws against that specific type of thing.
Yep.
This is really interesting, actually. I saw that they had co-opted the rebel flag to demonstrate affiliation to
Heritage, not race.
Who's they?
So anyone basically white supremacists there.
And where was this?
Europe, they stick a little emblem in the car so
Okay.
they
Really?
recognize each other because the swastika is illegal. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
They go out with the rebel flag.
Yeah.
Find that
Steve King has one on his desk.
music, everything.
Just saying.
Anyway,
From Iowa.
So the
From Iowa.
question,
we were
Fought for the Union.
Yep.
subject to the law, or should it be? Or
Yeah.
There's this whole issue with hate speech too. What is hate speech?
Keep your
No?
hate speech off this campus. Keep your hate speech
It's
off
not
this campus.
defined.
Keep your hate speech off this campus.
Trigglypuff, right?
Trigglypuff, garlic cook, eight Skrillex. These
Oh yeah, I miss AIDS Skrillex.
You're a fucking white male.
Yeah, no, I like that conversation, Dave, because it is true. We've got extremely robust free speech protection in this country. And, to compare it to, say, Great Britain, for example, they do have things that we would call hate speech laws that are specifically criminalized thing, like you can't say things with religious hatred in it, whatever it might be. I don't know. I think Canada might even have.
They just keep a running list of shit you can't say.
Yeah, I mean, sort of. I think sort of, yeah.
It's a
Sort
Google
of like the
Doc.
list of
And-
gender pronouns.
Open document.
And I mean, I think the discussion to have is that a good thing? I don't know. We've had. I don't. How did we wind up in the spot where we got the First Amendment in the first place?
And then the first question then there is how do you place a premium on the truth in society? Right? I feel like those laws that limit speech are maybe some attempt at that. And I guess we have libel laws, and that's a whole other question, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you say about me, you're liable for, right?
Oh,
how does
yeah,
that-
it's like
how
defamation.
does that
Defamation,
flow
yep.
with free speech, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't call people names. I mean, I don't know how that all works.
Yeah. Well, I think generally, there's slander and libel. It makes a difference if you're a public figure or not, and the burden of proof to, you got to show actual
Prove
malice.
damages.
Yeah, and then damage. Yeah, to actually turn it into a legal claim. Otherwise, what your best bet is probably some sort of injunctive relief where you just essentially say the court just stop it. knock it off.
Emotional distress.
Yeah, right.
Stop being mean. To
Stop-
that guy.
stop being mean,
saying
yeah.
Mean stuff to that guy. about
Right.
that guy.
But I mean, I guess I would argue maybe that like kind of the American principle and what to me is embodied in the First Amendment is this, how you're talking about how to put a premium on the truth. Well, I sort of believe that our system is adversarial in a sense where you get opposing positions arguing over whatever it might be, and then the hope would be that you settle at the right answer in the middle. But, in today's hyper-partisan polarized universe here in American politics, it's maybe a pipe dream anymore to get there. People are so diametrically opposed in some instances. So, I mean, that's sort of my thought process on it, at least. I mean, that's the way we handle it in court. For example, we've got an adversarial
Right.
judicial
you just
system.
sort of have this faith that people will see it
Well,
somewhere in the middle.
like,
Or,
yeah, I mean, here's an example. In judges in Europe are sort of, they're the fact finder almost. Like the lawyers just kind of supply them with info, and then the judge filters through everything. Where it is in the United States, the lawyers are literally arguing with each other and presenting their own interpretation of what happened, and the judge is just a referee. Foul, nope, this evidence isn't admissible, that kind of thing. And
then the jury is
the jury is the fact finder.
Right.
And the hope would be under that, with that zealous pursuit of your client's interest from each lawyer, then you settle at the closest answer to the truth. And that's the way our system is. So
What else you got? Controversy.
Oh, let's switch to taxes. Should the U.S. raise taxes on the rich? Australia currently has a progressive tax system whereby high-income earners pay a higher percentage of tax than low-income tax. A more progressive income tax system has been proposed as a tool toward reducing wealth inequality
and funding the Green New Deal.
The way this is worded here, I mean, it says Australia has we also have a progressive income tax bracket. I mean, if you earn $500,000 versus 50,000 or something, you're in a different tax bracket.
Right, but if you make 50 mil, then you pay 10%. Warren Buffett's famous for saying that he pays less of a tax percentage than a secretary because of write-offs, because of loopholes,
but it's still more. I mean, the total tax dollar was still going to be more, obviously.
But it will still mean less to him.
Right. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And, the U.S., we're at historic low tax rates for the U.S.
Just straight income?
For the U.S., absolutely. Yeah. It back in, what was it, the 70s? I want to say it was like 75% on the big earners.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, and it's every dollar over 10 million, then it's 70%. Or
in the 50s after
50s.
Eisenhower.
Yeah,
yes.
Very high.
That's exactly what it was.
The tax rate to pay off the war debt. And then they were also at that time building the highway system.
Correct.
So it was kind of a twofer.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of nutty when you think about it, because he was Republican, and that's like...
It was before the Great Switch.
This is not even... different party.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, to me, anytime we're talking tax, we have to really compartmentalize what we're talking about, because it's easy to you kind of blend in your deductions and your capital gains income, and it gets the federal tax code is
awful,
super thick, and it's really complicated.
Yeah,
and
I sort of think that's probably by design.
That's absolutely on purpose. Because it's pieced together by lobbyists.
Exactly. I mean, and the more complicated you make things, the less tractable it is.
Yeah,
right?
you muddy the waters.
So you just create complication and then...
Get people pissed off about the inheritance tax.
Accountants that do a lot of people's taxes.
We need Dylan, our tax man.
We do need a tax expert. Or Mike Woods or somebody like that.
Oh, yeah, Mike Woods around.
Yep.
Yeah, because I don't know. I'm on the side of raising taxes. I think so.
And who do we pinch? I mean, I think the obvious answer is the highest bracket of income
Absolutely.
earners. You pinch them with the highest percentage, right?
Absolutely.
Where's the threshold where somebody, for you at least, like, where how much can I earn before the government?
I'd have to study it more.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could come up with exact
Mm-hmm.
prices or numbers. Because I think in some way, which I don't know how you do, I feel like it almost have to go towards purchasing power. Because 10 million here is a lot different than 10 million in San Francisco.
Yeah.
True.
And so I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but how would you take that into effect?
Right. Because when you've got, that's a good point, because when you got universal federal tax
Right.
rules, and not all states are created equal in terms of living expense and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the poor states feed off the rich states, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that, Dave?
Well, if you just if your federal tax base is like, if you have a progressive tax system, so you've got most of your millionaires and trillionaires and and just more people, broadly speaking, so upper middle class, and then there's just a higher concentration of billionaires and higher concentration of millionaires, just a higher tax base in general. So that's how it already works. The federal government takes more money from the wealthy states and then distributes it,
spreads it around.
spreads the love.
Well, in this question, it was a more progressive tax income system has been proposed as a tool towards reducing wealth inequality. So, I mean, I think the way this is worded sort of presupposes that wealth inequality is a bad thing. How do you guys
There's
feel
always
about
been
that?
wealth inequality.
Yeah, I think it's going to exist no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, but I think you can mitigate it, right?
I don't know.
To mitigate wealth inequality.
Well, see, part of the problem is it's kind of, the richer you are, the easier it is to get richer. Basically.
Yeah. Well, yep.
It's expensive to be poor.
So it's just sort of like the tax code, right? If you can levy influence on the government and hire a team of lawyers to help nudge laws in a certain direction, well, you can sort of, over time, design a tax code that benefits you, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're, I don't know, what's the name of that? Something like, Google or Facebook, and there's, if they have monopoly, like breaking up monopolies and that sort of thing, like, I think that's important, to keep wealth distributed through society, in a sense.
Well, I think you'd see a lot of benefits too. I think you'd see, different crime rates. I think they'd probably go down. I think you'd see education opportunities go up. Poor schools suck. Like Southside Chicago schools, terrible. Northside Chicago schools, good. I just think it'd be a more level playing field.
Well, and in that case, think about the taxation there. Schools are generally funded by property taxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you live in a poor hood, there's fewer funds, right?
Yep.
If you live in a wealthy hood, there's more funds, and there's probably more stay-at-home spouses who are all up in that biz.
I don't know if just pouring a ton of money, saying here's $10 million to a South Side Chicago school is going to automatically fix the education issue, because it's mostly in education the students who struggle that don't have a learning disability is mostly because of socioeconomical issues.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty clear, isn't it?
Oh God, crystal clear. Yeah. But I guess it wouldn't be, in my opinion, it wouldn't be in that area's best interest to pool that tax money and just just give it to the school as a lump sum. I mean,
Right.
you'd have to somehow benefit the community, which maybe starts with the school. I don't know. If you have an attractive school, you're going to attract an attractive student body. So, don't know.
Interesting. Any other perspectives on the issue?
I really don't have much to say on taxes.
Yeah.
I'm mostly a social commentary guy. Social issues.
Oh, okay.
Fiscally, I'm.
We can go back to social issues. There's plenty of those. What's your stance on abortion?
Love it. Everybody should have abortions.
At least once.
At least once.
Don't knock it till you try it, right?
Okay.
We just
Do we need to learn more about this, or should we move on?
We just put our
Topic.
we just put all of our condoms, lube, and other sexy time things at the end cap right next to the pharmacy. It's like we give meds here at that end cap right there because people were stealing condoms all the time. I got sick of that, so we put them under the front counter for a little while. So all the little high school girls that work after school had to help people pick out condoms. Thought that was a bad idea. So we moved them back by us, and we were going to put a sign that said Plan A.
Yeah,
There
you go.
Put a sign that said Plan B back over our drugs.
There you go.
Very good.
Oh, funny. You don't have to touch abortion if you guys don't want to.
I
There's
think
plenty
we're all
more.
pretty much.
All right.
Yeah.
Days for murdering.
Yeah, I'm pro
Selling
death.
selling baby body parts. Remember that one?
Oh boy.
All right, here's a good one. Should a business be able to deny service to a customer
Oh.
if the request conflicts with the owner's religious beliefs?
Yes.
Probably.
1993, the federal government passed the Federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act. The law was intended to protect Native Americans in danger of losing their jobs because of religious ceremonies that involved the illegal drug peyote. Since then, 20 states have passed their own versions of the Religious Freedoms Law, and 12 more have introduced the legislation this year. Supporters argue that the government shouldn't force religious businesses and churches to serve customers who participate in lifestyles contrary to their owners' beliefs. Proponents of the law argue that the political context has changed since 1992, and states are now passing their own versions of the law with the intent of discriminating against gay and lesbian couples.
Let the market decide.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Usually the context which this is framed as is in the Christian context, Christians refusing to make cakes for gay people.
Yep.
Right.
Make the gay cake.
Always a gay cake.
Go to a
Always
Muslim
the gay
bakery.
cake.
Go to a fundamentalist, Muslim bakery and see if they will do it for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's always seems to be against the Christians.
Yeah.
Do you sort of feel like that kind of activism targeted toward Christians is sort of like low-hanging fruit for them or
Absolutely
something,
low-hanging
where
fruit.
they can
And
they
they
can
do,
make a stink about it and get a lot of attention?
and in general the Christians don't do anything. Where don't you dare draw a picture of the Prophet Muhammad. I guess we could go there, but
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, it's just who's the easiest to pick on, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
Right.
I drew Muhammad once. You couldn't tell it was supposed to be Muhammad, but I
Yeah.
labeled it.
This is Muhammad with a silent U or something.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and then why do we so if there's a double standard as far as that goes, why do we have it that way? Where it's easier to pick on Christians.
Because I think because they're generally white,
That's very true. Mhm.
you're not going to get
Yeah.
the race factor
Exactly.
thrown in. Yeah.
PC.
Yeah, PC principle.
PC principal. PC babies. Oh man, they're hilarious.
I've been PC since '93.
Yeah. Check your privilege, bro.
That is so true. Like,
I think that's it. Really.
in these days, in this climate, if you criticize Islam, you're accused of being a racist.
Xenophobe.
Yeah, that has never made sense to me.
I think that there's a difference between
I think we
having
should
a
criticize it more.
about somebody's character because of their religion. There's a difference between that and criticizing a religion.
I think the only time I ever get kind of pissy with it is when people act like all Muslims want Sharia law and everyone
See, that's just
to be head covered because that's just nonsense. It's the same number of Christians that are Westboro Baptist Church
Exactly.
members. You know,
Mm,
it's
But-
not
not
represent.
really.
I think it is.
Westboro Baptist Church is like 12 people.
It's like 77. They're all
Okay,
related.
Okay.
And then-
But there's a lot of those church. There's a few of those churches around, scattered around. It's
A
a
few.
very
Or at least
exactly, and there's a
anti.
there's a very small population of Muslims living in America that
Okay.
would like
Oh, now we're
Sharia
talking
law.
Living in America, yeah.
Okay.
I think we should criticize Sharia law till our
Absolutely.
mouth gets
But I don't
tired.
think it's
See-
representative of the religion as a whole. There's a billion.
Uh,
Well,
There's
but
a
you can
billion.
certainly, there's still
Mm.
plenty to criticize about Islam,
Absolutely.
just on its face.
Absolutely.
I would say more so than Christianity.
Well,
I would be as bold
agree
as to
with
say that.
But I would say that it's true in both cases, really. I don't know. So they're both sort of easily. Neither should be immune to critique.
No way. Yeah.
No,
I agree.
no, absolutely not.
But again, it's like it's a difference between, you know, people that are racist against whatever, some religion.
Racist against a religion.
Well, however you define race, religionist, whatever.
Prejudice.
Prejudice.
Yeah.
It's kind of an artificial, I mean, any way that you
there's
draw
one
a certain amount of group of people, it's an artificial imposition in a sense.
there's one side that wants to blow up stuff in the name of Muhammad, and there's another side that doesn't. Like, I mean, it's apples oranges, and kind of, in my opinion. I mean, there's the majority of violent attacks are from Islamists, and
What about the abortion clinic bombings?
yeah,
Well,
okay,
that's
there's
a good
one.
question. There's
I
also
know.
plenty of white nationalist people shooting places.
Plenty?
Well,
Okay, so did they go in there and say, Jesus Christ? Or,
well,
you
when
know,
I say
well, what's-
white nationalist, I mean sort of like I have a chip on my shoulder against Jews.
oh, okay, so
Or-
anti-Jew, and not necessarily pro-Jesus, more anti-whatever group.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
okay. But that's different because jihad or these extreme, you know, Islamists are shooting people and blowing things up for their deity, not against. I shouldn't say that because that's a claim that I can't back up, but
It's against the infidels.
that's the word I was looking for,
Right.
against the infidels, as they perceive instructed through the Quran. I don't know. I haven't read the Quran, so I
haven't
can't.
either, and I have no idea if the Quran advocates putting bombs on your chest and then blowing it.
Yeah,
Not that
Like,
specifically.
I don't really know how that. I mean, look, you can interpret things. There's what's written, and then there's
Right.
interpretation.
I think there's a substantial difference between, a substantial. I don't want to say this. Factor between Islam and Christianity in terms of violence. I mean, I don't think that's even debatable. Where one religion is more violent than
in
another.
current times.
Sure, I mean, yeah, obviously you have the Crusades and stuff, and I get that.
Sure.
But yeah, currently, which is where the debate should be,
Right.
there's no question that hardcore fundamental Islamists are more dangerous, I would use that word, than fundamental Christians.
Yeah. Fundamentalist Christians say the earth was created in 6,000 years.
That's not going to blow you up.
Well, they also tell you not to use condoms in Africa that's stricken with AIDS.
That's a little
True.
bit different than blowing people up.
Yeah, it's killing the continent.
But so somebody not using protection in Africa doesn't directly put my life in danger.
It doesn't.
Whereas someone who wants to slay the infidels in northwest Iowa
Potentially.
could.
Sure.
Well, the problem with like here's a bad thing, and then but here's another bad. I mean, two wrongs makes a who cares. It's
Right.
both bad.
Yeah.
You know,
It
it's just
absolutely-
bad all over the place.
Yep.
And I think the big picture message is bad ideas need to be criticized, period,
No matter what.
no matter the source. And,
Right.
you know.
And I would go. I was just going to say, I would take it a one step further and say certain religions have more bad ideas than others.
Sure.
I
mean, we're all going to have those that we are going to be more in agreement with than others.
Yeah. I mean, coming from Satanist priest for 20 years.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, that movie was great. Religulous. Bill Maher's.
That was a great movie.
That was really funny.
Bill Maher is my favorite liberal.
Oh yeah, because he is a liberal.
Yes.
I mean, he's not. He's a
true liberal.
He's an
Yeah,
unapologetic liberal.
He's not a snowflake.
A classical liberal, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting distinction
Yeah.
that's kind of cropped up lately, is that, and I think that's a good thing that distinctions are being drawn, because my hope would be that things would start to parse out, and then, you know, hopefully everybody, like, I think most people are pretty normal and pretty close to the center on a lot of things, regardless of how much chirping there is on the edges.
Yeah, I think most people want the greater good. I would say. I don't think that's too outrageous to think or claim. There's not people. The majority of the population isn't out there trying to scheme against the Democrats or against the Republicans. They just want to vote for what sounds good, what makes sense to them.
Well, exactly. You know? I mean, we got 3 family men in here, right? with portfolios in terms of children. Yeah,
indeed.
Kyle on the way, I guess.
Yeah,
Andy and I are the only ones.
I'm waiting on a phone call as we speak, pretty much.
Yeah,
glued to his phone.
It's getting go time.
I knew it was this week, right?
Yep, it's getting go time. I know it.
Yeah.
I know it.
Are the palms sweaty like 24/7?
Mom spaghetti.
Yeah.
These weak arms are heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's getting real. I'm terrified.
Little Brown will be here any day.
Yeah, LeBron, Michael Jordan, Grant.
You'll be a good dad. I'm not worried about you. But anyways, what I'm driving at is, like, I mean, what do you guys care about most of all? You know, family.
Putting food on the table.
Food on the table. Yeah. I mean, so, like, but that's the lens through which you see everything, right? I mean, how are my family, and mine and my family's interests affected by whatever's happening? And
will I get fired for what I said in this podcast?
Yeah. On that note, should gender identity be added to anti-discrimination laws?
Oh, boy.
Man,
Gender.
I just don't know enough about it.
Define gender.
Yeah, right.
Well,
apparently there's 1,000 some choices on Instagram.
Cool.
Including like a donkey or something. It's ridiculous, man.
Isn't that the problem though? Like,
because you don't. I mean,
it's like potentially an endless.
Yeah, I am a non-binary swamp troll or something like that.
Binary, dude or chick, gray. That's 3 boxes you can check. 1 or 3.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. I don't care. Just don't punish me for not necessarily knowing what you're identifying as.
Don't make me call you something. Yeah.
Like
I don't care.
About everyone has their primary, like their most basic. Like they have their house, they have their kids, they have their bills, they have their job, they have their boss, and they have their spouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know. And so that's the first thing that they think about, and then there's all this chatter on the fringes of what matters that much. It's kind of like guns, right? Like, on the one hand, yeah, it makes sense. Like, you should probably, but how often, statistically speaking, lone wolf events are still pretty rare and perhaps arguably not worthy of being, like, some force for adjusting policy, right? But it's kind of on the fringes. But in the end, like everyone's got all this really strong opinion about guns, right? But then in the end, odds are it doesn't matter. Just likewise with like Muslim extremists, the odds you're probably about as likely to get struck by lightning.
Not if you're a white American walking around in Syria, though.
Well, but,
you know.
Yeah, well, that's true.
We won.
What's that?
Series over.
Oh yeah, we pulled out of the The
Not
But
yet.
again, how
No,
much is
yeah.
Syria? How much is that
We won't.
related
Yeah,
They
to
don't.
religion, and how much is that related to just socioeconomic shit?
Mhm.
I think I read somewhere that you could tie the conflict in Syria back to drought
oh
and indirectly to then global warming, right?
wow.
More of an issue created. I don't even know.
The tangled web we weave.
Indeed.
Huh?
I guess what drives me nuts is
I guess the same is true about the transgender thing. Is there any evidence that, allowing people to have some like third box to check poses any meaningful danger or infringement on anybody? I doubt it,
Yeah.
and I don't really care.
right,
Do
and
whatever you
then
want.
it goes all the way into the politics because when I wake up and I look at my left wing and my right wing news slices, you'd think that all liberals wanted X, Y, and Z. All conservatives, no, they want this X, Y, and Z. When typically, like 3 or 4 said it on this side, 3 or 4 people,
Yeah.
but they're considered thought leaders, and 3 or 4 people said that all conservatives hate people and want all poor people to die, but all liberals
Right.
want to take all your guns. And the vast majority of people are not those people.
Yeah.
But it's spun up and it's ramped up on both sides by that's the case.
I'm sick of Twitter being a source for stuff. I mean, like, how many actual people in Twitter accounts does it really take to get a thing trending? Because out of the 350 million people that live in the United States or the 7 billion on the planet, I mean, like,
Are you
Yeah.
guys all tweeters?
I am not.
Occasionally,
Yeah.
I'll tweet.
I don't tweet, but
I like reading.
Yeah, I like
I
reading.
read Trump's in the morning.
Yeah.
He's got some good ones.
Every morning I read his
Like, oh,
Twitter,
God,
but
yes, you
It's Sleazy Comey now. That's the new one.
Comey.
Sleazy. Sleazy Comey, Lion, Nancy, and Chuck. And
Trump even trolls other Twitter feeds. I told somebody this the other day. I don't remember who, but I was looking at CNN's official Twitter feed, and they posted something about how Michelle Obama is the most loved woman of the year, or whatever, according to somebody. Scroll through the comments a little bit.
yeah, it's him.
It's Trump saying that's a lie. Melania is the best woman of all time, or something like that. Like he's in deep with this stuff.
oh, it's Crying Chuck now.
Crying Chuck.
Chuck.
Yeah,
Crying
'cause
Chuck.
tonight he gave 10 minutes ago, he gave the lineup of Fox this evening. I will be interviewed by Janine Pirro at 9 p.m. Watch on Fox News. Watch Jesse B. Waters after, and Greg Gutfeld after that. All terrific people. I'm in the White House waiting for Crying Chuck and Nancy to call so we can start helping our country, both at the border, Big B, of course, and from within.
Big B
Right.
board.
God, we could do a we could do a podcast just over Trump tweets
A
of the
Trump
week.
episode?
Trump episode.
Reddit, subreddit,
Oh,
Trump
man.
criticizes Trump. It shows all of his contradictions.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Do you subscribe to R the Donald?
The Donald is great.
I go in there
man.
every now and then.
Yeah, it's a cesspool of
It is.
slime.
Had enough, Ben?
Yeah, I better. Speaking of Family Man,
Okay. We can wrap her up here.
Yeah.
Okay. See you
what's
later.
our timestamp on there?
Oh God, we've been rambling for a while.
About